Eadig and welcome back to my channel. This is the video you've all been waiting for. 18 witchcraft specialties, which can also be thought of as types of witches. These are specific areas of study that witches can focus on in their craft. Many witches like to have a general sense of all types of witchcraft, which definitely comes in handy, but I like the idea of being a master in a particular craft. So I'm going to start off with the area of study which I've chosen for myself, which is symbols. This entails learning the magical significance of ancient alphabets, symbols, and ciphers, such as runes, geomancy, sigils, Ogham, I Ching, Hebrew, Greek, ancient Egyptian, sacred geometry, alchemical symbols, kamias, which are magic squares, and planetary intelligences and spirits, which each have a symbol of their own. Witches that study symbols can also be referred to as occult symbologists and can study semiotics in traditional settings. Next, we have herbalism, which is the study of medicinal properties of plants, trees, and seeds. Though herbalism isn't directly tied to witchcraft, herbal witches can work with both magical and medicinal properties of plants. Because herbalists create remedies and potions such as tinctures, decoctions, incense, and oils, they go through extensive training and schooling to understand the properties of plants and to help those who come to them with any medical needs. I originally wanted to become an herbalist before I discovered my love for ancient symbols because herbalism is such a beautiful craft, but it takes years of extensive trainings and it should be taken really seriously. Number 3 is spell work. This is for all those writers out there. With spell work, you can master the art of writing and performing verbal spells. And it would be beneficial to study writing, poetry, and linguistics to get a better sense of your spell writing capabilities in different languages as well. Divination, for psychics, which are also called intuitives. This can be anything from dream interpretations, which are also called aneromancy, geomancy, aeromancy, scrying runes, Ogham, reading tea leaves, which is also called tasseomancy, tarot, palm reading, pendulums, I Ching, and so much more. Personally, I think as an intuitive, you should learn all types of divination, but some intuitives prefer one over another, but you should definitely experiment and see what works best for you. Necromancy and mediumship, which is the ability to see, hear, and work with spirits. This ability can be extremely daunting for anyone who isn't able to ground and protect themselves and should definitely be sought out with caution. Communicating with the dead is extremely dangerous and should be done with as much care as possible with an understanding of the unpredictable nature of spirits. Sea queens! They connect with the ocean, sea creatures, and oceanic deities like Poseidon and use the sea to channel their manifestations. An interest in sea magic can be combined with studies in oceanography and marine biology to help with an understanding of all aspects of the sea in order to connect with it even more. Planetary and astrological. This requires knowing the qualities of the zodiac signs and understanding the energies of the planets, the constellations, and the lore behind them, and working with the intelligences and spirits of planetary kamias, which can either be used to harness the power of the planets or to block them. An interest in planetary magic can of course be combined with studies in astronomy in traditional settings. Crystals! When I was a kid, I was always so fascinated by crystals that I used to steal them from stores when my parents weren't looking. And I even wanted to be a geologist at one point. There's something about crystals that make you feel like you're connecting with energy with something that's been around for thousands of years. Studying crystals is very extensive and requires you to learn the magical properties of every crystal, which can be anything from using them for protection, learning about the truth of any matter, connecting with loved ones, or finding lost items. Numbers! Numbers are a universal language and are a magical form of union and communication. If you're interested in numbers, you should look into numerology, which helps with the understanding of magical significance of numbers, and you benefit from subjects such as frequency ratios, gematria, magic squares, sacred geometry, quantum physics, and of course, general mathematics. Music! If you play an instrument, you're already one step ahead, but of course this would be magical studies of music and how harmonics and sound vibrations can help with spell work. It's said that ancient monks were actually able to move heavy rocks using different sound frequencies, which can be seen in the study of cymatics, where tiny sand particles are moved by sound vibrations on a metal plate. Music can also, of course, help in changing moods, and this can be explored in your spell work as well. Mind and mental. This can include hypnotists, mentalists, telekinetics, those who master the art of active visualization, and empaths. Although empaths are technically powered through their emotions, I think they can also have the potential to control the emotions of others and possibly even more with their minds if they learned how to. Techno, using technology to perform spells and understanding the language of computers. Studying math and coding would definitely benefit anyone interested in becoming a techno witch. I also consider electrokinesis as a part of techno magic because it's the ability to control electromagnetic waves, which of course are surrounding us in various forms of technology. Knots! Many of us are already working with knots on a daily basis when we crochet, knit, and make bracelets, but we can use the power of knots in our spell work as well. This requires knowledge of thousands of different types of knot-making techniques and how they can be utilized for magical workings like binding, unity, love, or tying the knot, protection, and so much more. Alchemy. This can include both physical and spiritual alchemy. Alchemists can work towards turning base metals into gold or becoming fully enlightened beings by going through the alchemical processes of transformation. Becoming an alchemist requires thorough knowledge of alchemical texts, symbols, processes, and principles as well. Draconic studies. This is the connection to dragons as spiritual entities. It's said that you need to open yourself up completely in order to see them and connect with them on a spiritual level. And then we have fairies, which like dragons are seen as spiritual entities that connect with your inner child. You need to be as open as possible to seeing that which can't be seen, and they'll only reveal themselves when they can actually fully trust you. I don't know that much about fairy or draconic witchcraft, but they're definitely cool subjects that require a lot of research if you're interested in them. Ritual and ceremonial. The ceremonial magician studies traditional magic in the sense that everything must go in its place. The timing, the symbols, the wardrobe, the planetary alignments, and tools must be precise and by the books in order for the magical workings to be performed. This requires a full understanding of ritual magic, which is typically very advanced and can combine other specialties such as symbols, astrology, numbers, and more. And last but not least, we have the elements, working with the power of the elements and being able to harness and control them. This, of course, is kind of self-explanatory and just requires a lot of experimentation. So that's all I have for you guys today. Let me know in the comments below what specialties you're interested in studying, and I'll see you guys next time.